Minister for the economy. Is from the Scottish Government. He came and to do the opening. We had the head of Scottish Enterprise Innovation Agency, and actually we have this chap called Greg Clark, and he does. He's an expert on cities and on innovation districts within cities.
Mm-hmm.
So at the moment he does work for various agencies, including the UK government's Future Cities Catapult,
Mm-hmm.
which he does comparative work looking at these different innovation areas. So I just said I'd send him this paper that we wrote about the role of universities in there to get his response to it. But he'll be a very interesting person for you to meet at some point. Also next Tuesday, I hope are you available on Tuesday?
Yes, I'm available.
Because I would like you to take part in some conversations, just to sit there and or to meet a few people. So I have a man called Graham Reed. Now Graham Reed is, so it's the Scottish spelling of Graham. The Scottish spelling of Graham is Graeme.
Graham.
Graham. Okay, and so Graham is
He's Scottish.
he's Scottish.
Oh, concerns about Scottish accent.
Oh, but he's been in London for a long time. He doesn't really
Okay.
have a very strong accent. No, you can still tell he's Scottish, but he has worked for many years in England, and he is now the professor of I'm not entirely sure what it is, public policy and innovation or something like this, in at UCL, University College London. And previously he was the head of the UK government ministry that runs all the research and innovation.
Mm-hmm.
So he was basically in charge of the whole of the UK's research budgets.
Mm-hmm.
So he's a very influential person, and now he retired from that job and he became a professor at UCL. He's also a visiting professor here. So he comes here regularly, like 4 times a year. He comes here for a day, and then I work with him on that day, and he meets different people, advises about various things, and he's very interested in also how things work. So what I agreed with him last time that we would do would be to look at the business models of different research and technology organisations.
Mm-hmm.
So things like the Fraunhofer and the catapults,
Yes.
because their role is to play this intermediary relationship. And so Andrew Jameson, who is the chief executive of the Offshore Renewable Energy Catapult, which is based here. He will come in at lunchtime and have a discussion with us. And then also I hope that the person from the Fraunhofer and one of the other centres can come in as well, so that we have a small discussion around the different ways in which they, in practice, try to bridge between a university and industry.
Uh-huh.
And it would be I think it would be a good experience for you to be there and listen to us.
Yeah.
And maybe make some notes and things. And then you can also meet Graham. He's a very, very nice guy. Very nice.
Uh-huh.
Very interested in everything that happens. But in particular, he's on the side of innovation policy. So what does government have to do to make sure that innovation is effective? Yeah, so your topic of science parks and innovation districts is something again which will interest him, because again these are ways of developing your high knowledge intensive industry, and the relationships between the universities and everything else is also part of that. So it's probably I think it'll be interesting for you to meet these people.
Yeah.
And we'll see how it fits in.
I think it's probably great opportunity for Thailand Science Park. Maybe we can collaborate or work something together in the next future.
Who knows? Who knows? But in any case, for your PhD and as a PhD candidate, you have to. It's good for you to make contact with people and to understand what's going on, understand the wider academic literature and how it fits into society. So I'm broadening your experience and your education here. Okay, and then we see exactly later on. We'll see how that fits in. But it's one of the many things you will then be able to think about and incorporate into your work.
Do you know he's ever been in Thailand or other Asian countries for visit a science park or not?
Don't know. I think this is you will meet lots of people.
Yeah.
Don't worry, you will meet lots and lots of people of interest. And then I'm not sure if he's the most appropriate because he doesn't run any businesses or anything. But certainly there will be interest. These are public sector people, right? So any case, we'll bring you along on the day, and you can be there. You can also hear the conversation, take part in the conversation. It's all part of your development. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I'll let you know exactly when it is. But it'll be around about 11 o'clock probably, maybe 11 till 1 o'clock, something like that, on Tuesday.
I'm available.
Good. And Caroline will confirm exactly when it is. So I just need to blow my nose here. Hello, 0.1%. Sorry, 1%. So at least he's acknowledged it. He didn't make any comment about the number.
I guess that's good. He didn't laugh over email back at us.
Well, we just couldn't see that happen.
Yeah.
8%.
Her page just passed out, so mine is like he's responded.
We just had to put in a report to government yesterday about risk, and we were wondering what their response would be for our risk assessment that we did for them. We just got a very polite email back. So.
What about Bob?
Huh?
What about Bob? Next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday. Yeah, we can. I'll see if Bob is around. But no, Bob isn't around because Bob is doing something else. He's going to NHS Lanarkshire on a project. So.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I was. Otherwise, if I'd not been here, I would have been going to the thing that Bob is going to. But it's better that Bob does that and that I do this. So. Okay. Good split of responsibilities. Okay, so you've read some of these. You had a look at the paper the white paper.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Okay.
And yeah, anything. It's up to you. We can discuss now whatever you want.
When I read your paper, I got some point and I get some idea. In the context of Thailand, I think university is quite different from your papers because university in Thailand focus teaching and take care of so many students, and teaching is a first priority. And I think academic research is not work for commercialize or scale up. But I think it's okay if a university in Thailand should be lead to build innovation ecosystem. But in Thailand Science Park is located in Pathum Thani province. It's very close in Bangkok, and Thai government policy try to build Pathum Thani as a science city. I think I would like to shape a little bit about my research instead of innovation ecosystem. That's why I'm interested in innovation district, because I think when I back to Thailand and work in Thailand Science Park, I can bring or use my experience and my research to adapt to my workplace. And
So is there a university located very
Yes.
close by?
yes, there are 3 universities, especially S&T University. It's a very close in Thailand Science Park.
Yeah.
Yes. And one of them is Asian Technology Institution, something like that, or AAT. Yeah. And Thammasat University and Srinthorn S&T, like a high postgraduate
Okay.
institutions. Yes.
And do they do very much in entrepreneurship and startups?
Yeah. Startup is I think in Thailand, startup always happen in a university.
Okay.
Yes, but Thailand Science Park focus try to focus and seek for SME to be a tenant. To be honestly, more than 50% of tenants is a large corporate or international companies.
Yeah.
Such as Tube Suit. You know.
Yeah. They own. They're here as well because they own the National Engineering Laboratory.
And Ecolab Air Products is I think if Thailand Science Park work closely with a university, because SME always go to work with a university, you know. But Thailand Science Park, we have many international company. Maybe we used to link SME to large corporate for build or high value added products or something.
Yeah, and supply chain partners.
Yes, I think. But now in Thailand, university just work like isolate. Maybe we have some. I try to find out missing link. Try to work with a university and science park, or even a regional science park in Thailand. Because a regional science park in Thailand, they have many incubators and SME. Yeah.
So if these incubators and so on are also associated with the universities,
Yes.
then they are playing some of the roles that we describe here.
The incubators in a university mainly IT. You know, not too much, not much technology incubator. I mean, like a food technology incubator, Thai incubator, Thai startup also focus application.
Yeah.
Build application also. That I think it's not
So it's let's say those parts which are relatively low cost to innovate in.
Yeah.
So the areas. So for example, in chemistry, you need a lot of labs and so on in order highly specialized equipment to be able to do something that's innovative. So those things are relatively very expensive, and that's more difficult if you don't have the infrastructure base.
Yeah, but I think Thailand Science Park have a world-class infrastructure and can share usage about infrastructure with infrastructure in a university. I think it's a good opportunity for entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Yes. and sometimes we link some testing equipment that science park doesn't have
Yeah.
to other university. Thailand Science Park act like a bridging agent. We try to connect not only in Thailand but also international link. But I think it's not much now. And Thai government policy or launch industry 4.0.
Yeah.
Yeah, try to lead innovation base for economic growth.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
So in some ways, what you're describing, the Thai Science Park role is also that kind of leading role that here in our paper we are describing for a university.
yes.
But this is more like the role that you're playing as Thailand Science Park, in the sense of leading, bringing partners together,
Yes.
making things happen,
Some
developing a
part,
vision.
yeah, some part is similar to
Yeah.
the role of universities. But some parts I think
You don't have students. So there is also a discussion. So the paper that I show you is quite political in some ways because, well, as universities of science and technology, we're trying to distinguish ourselves from general universities. But also we're trying to make clear to research and technology organisations that we can do things that they cannot do, because the research and technology organisations in Europe have been saying to the European Commission, we are the organisations who should have responsibility for innovation. Don't talk to anybody else. But of course, they don't have lots of these facilities, they don't have the science base, they don't have the talent, they don't have any students. All they have, in some sense, is they have a ability to do consulting and other kinds of things, but they certainly don't have talent. So the way we describe our role, the university's role, is partly because we're trying to not just say that this is what we think university should do, but also we're trying to make clear to these other groups what's different about us and how we can really contribute. But what we also saw in our work around the different universities is that every university works differently because it works in partnership with other organisations. And depending on the country, those organisations are constructed differently. So they may, so for example, in Germany you have all these Fraunhofers. You don't really have Fraunhofers in other countries. In some countries, also the legal position of universities changes from one country to another. So their ability to, for example, invest in companies can be different. We can invest in our small companies, but in Germany they cannot do that because the universities are public bodies. Whereas we are a charity, but we are, and in some sense we're a public body, but we don't belong to the government. So we can have shares in companies. We can create companies as we like. So we as Strathclyde University invests in companies. In fact, I just remembered I have to sign a form. Can I just tell Caroline before I forget?
Okay.
Hi, it's Tim. Hiya. I'd forgotten to say there's this email from Catherine Breslin where she's got a copy of the ClinSpec spin-out papers, and I need to sign those before I go home. So could you could you? I'll come down again, and then if you could print them out, I'll just sign them, and then we can tell Caroline that she can pick them up. Yeah, thanks very much. Okay, cheers then. Bye. So I just need to put some drops in my eye. It's okay? Sorry.
It's okay.
No, I have some sensitive eyes.
You should wear glasses for protecting wind.
Sorry?
You should wear glasses for protecting wind.
It's they're just dry because there is a condition. So not much to do about that. Okay.
But in Thailand, university in Thailand belong to the government.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we don't have a specific S&T university.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like Europe or
When I went to work in the Netherlands, so when I was a postdoc, well, I studied in England in Warwick University, and then I was in Cambridge. I did my postdoc, and then in 1987, I went to the Netherlands, and I worked at TU Delft.
TU Delft.
And when I got there, I was just amazed because everything is. I was a civil servant, so I was just a part of the government organisation, and my contract was signed by somebody. He was somebody in the university, but it was signed on behalf of the Minister of Education. Whereas in the UK, the universities have always been independent organisations. But this is still true in lots of places around Europe. The minute that the universities are really a part of the government and that you are a civil servant. So it's the German university that I visited the other week is one of those things. A lot of Eastern Europe ones are like that as well. Here they've always been separate, but we are. Well, you can actually be a for-profit organisation nowadays. Not in Scotland, but in England you can. And in Scotland, they are all the universities are charities. So we don't make a profit, and we have a charitable objective, which is to educate and do research. But within that, we still have powers to be able to do things which are to the benefit of our objectives, of our charitable objectives, and that gives us quite a lot of scope to do what we like. Do you want a drink? No? Oh, you have this. If okay, I'll just make a quick.
Thank you so much. Tea time. Thailand, we don't have much non-profit organization to give a funding or budget to build or make a innovation. Yes. Maybe Thai government should. It's like strategy. I'm not sure in Thailand. We always attract international company or like Fraunhofer.
Yeah.
Yeah, to bring some funding.
You do have a Fraunhofer?
Yeah. Thailand have a good connection with Fraunhofer.
Okay, good.
Yes, but I never talked to anybody that work in Fraunhofer. Yes. It's
Okay. So are they on the science park?
Not science. I think. Yeah, it's a lead science park.
Also on the science park?
Yes. I'm not sure. I
Okay.
think so. When Thai government try to build a Thailand science park, we go to Germany for a survey and explore about success or failure case.
Yeah.
Yeah, to build science park because Thailand science park is the first science park in Thailand and the largest R&D hub in Thailand. Yes.
We should have a look. Let me just. Actually, there's somebody else I'm going to introduce you to if he's here upstairs.
I'm so lucky that I am to be your advisor.
You have to see whether that's lucky. It might not turn out to be lucky.
Open my world.
3276. Is that Abdullah? Hi, it's Tim Bedford here. I'm very well, thank you. I'm just, because you're on the 8th floor, right? And I'm on the 7th floor with my new PhD student. And she's doing work about science parks and innovation districts. And just starting. If you have a moment in the next sort of half hour or so, would you like to just kind of drop down and we can introduce you? Okay, that's great. Okay, cheers. Oh, I'm in 715. Okay, see you. So this is a chap who works upstairs in the Hunter Centre for Entrepreneurship, but he also has interest in innovation and let's say in economic development and for example, he has somebody from Fraunhofer coming over. We were just discussing a little while ago. So he has lots of connections into innovation and innovation policy. I should maybe introduce him to Graham as well. Right, okay, when he comes down, he's going to come down and say hello. Because actually it's important that you also are connected to the people in the Hunter Centre because there's other people there.
Hi.
Hi, how are you? Good to see you again.
How are you? Hi.
This is Ning. So I just thought, just so you can say hello, because Ning has joined us in management science, and where you can say maybe a little bit about what your project is.
Yeah, interesting. The role of science park, developing innovation cluster. But when I talk to Professor Tim, I would like to change a little bit because I would like to explore about how to build innovation district in Thailand science park in Thailand.
Okay.
Yeah, because Thailand science park is located in Pathum Thani province. Pathum Thani province is very close in Bangkok, the capital city in Thailand. And Thai government try to build Pathum Thani province as a science city.
So you would like to understand the role of the science park in developing the innovation district.
Yes.
I know in Thailand science parks are a big thing.
Really?
Well, I mean, it's kind of, I receive a lot of paper reviews on Thailand on science parks, and I think it's a big policy about science parks in general in Asia Pacific. Yeah, it seems interesting topic.
If you have any advice or suggestions, please let me know.
Sure, I mean, if you can send me some of your writings, maybe I can.
She's just started.
Just started,
Just
okay.
a week ago, or 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. There you go.
I mean, I'm really happy to help. I haven't worked on science parks particularly, but I work on innovation policy, and I looked at policies for networking, which includes science parks as a policy instrument, but other kind of networking instruments as well. So I know the policy of science parks a little bit, and if you need any advice on the literature or anything, I'm happy to help. And if you, in due time, if you write something and want my comments, I'm happy to help as well. And you can book an appointment if you have any particular questions. No problem, no problem. Happy to help.
And I just think it also would be good for Ning also if she knew some of the PhD, because you obviously have PhDs who are working in kind of general areas
Sure.
around this as well, because you'll meet them partly through the different research courses that you have to do. But as you only arrived sort of in January, then you've sort of missed because there's many of them, the new ones would have started in October. So you're joining partway through, but anyway, there is also a community of people, of students upstairs who are supervised by people upstairs who are also interesting for you to get to know.
I mean, maybe the best way to connect with our PhD students is to come our research seminars. So we have research seminars once in a month, generally Wednesdays, and generally a lot of PhD students are there. And if you can email me, I can email the schedule of the research seminars. I happen to organize them this year, and you can maybe attend, and there are lots of PhD students, you can try to connect with them. That might be a good opportunity. Yeah, just email me so that I email you the seminar program.
Good. What time is the seminar?
It's-
Because that wasn't on your note.
Yeah,
you sent me.
sorry, I realized later it's 2:30.
Oh, 2:30. All right.
Is it,
That's in the middle of the Senate
Okay.
meeting, so I have to be there.
But I mean, if there are any other people that you might know who might be interested, we'd be really grateful if you can forward.
Yeah. So it's about science and business collaboration.
Especially in papers. He looks at papers,
Yeah.
so co-authored papers between science and industry.
Yeah.
He's a kind of data guy,
Yeah.
a kind of a long-standing collaborator, and he's at the forefront of the policy discussion because they do a lot of contract research.
Yeah.
It's a kind of Fraunhofer Institute that does a lot of contract research for policymakers.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the reasons I was interested in meeting him actually, as well as the topic. But the topic is amusing because we're just introducing that. I tell you, the person to invite is Scott Kilgariff.
Okay. Do you have a piece of paper for me?
Sorry about that. No.
Okay, I can write here. No worries.
Oh, we.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. We have paper.
Can I?
Yeah. Great. See, that's contributing important stuff already, which your professor does not have to hand. There you go, Scott Kilgariff. Is it one F or two Fs? I think it's
I'll find
Kilgariff.
out, don't worry.
It's either one F or two F. He's from Arques and he's their data guy.
Okay.
He's a really, really nice guy as well, and he's actually doing the MSc in data analysis part time as well.
Okay.
So he does all the analysis of businesses. Oh, that's also, you might be interested in meeting him at some point. He can do analyses of all the university's data on which businesses we're working with and all this kind of stuff. And there's also data people in the strategy and policy, but they then work together on anything to do with research and innovation, and he also does all the data analysis for Pure, all the publications. So I think he might be
Okay, I'll
interested.
forward it to him.
Yeah, especially if you say that this person is also does kind of data analysis, data analytics.
Yeah, they maintain a database of science industry collaborations in Europe based on the papers. Yeah, they have a lot of data stuff.
Okay.
I'm in multiple projects with them on data, different source of data.
Okay.
But he might be a helpful person, and maybe if you happen to know anybody in Scottish government who might be interested in that kind of a thing as well, that might be good for us to raise profile as well.
Yeah, probably. I could send it to somebody in Scottish Funding Council, the person who does R and KE, who does the KE stuff. Yeah. Okay.
When we have the seminar, I just want not it to be a kind of a departmental seminar. He's an important guy.
Yeah.
He's
Well,
very
actually,
topical.
Yvonne Kinnaird might also be interested.
Who?
Yvonne Kinnaird. Ah, right. And then the other person who would be interested is Linda Wallace. Now, Linda may well have an email address here because she's on secondment from here, but she's working currently with the Scottish Funding Council, and you can ask her to circulate it elsewhere.
Okay.
But she's currently doing a PhD, I think, with Alana
Okay.
or
is she
somebody.
okay?
So she would definitely be interested because she's on secondment to look at the University's Innovation Fund.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds very interesting.
It's right up the street.
And if you happen to know anybody at Fraunhofer CAP here, we have had real difficulty in reaching out to them.
Yeah, I just go to Simon Andrews, but probably that's why you sent it in the first place, I guess, or not.
I mean, we emailed a lot of people that we see in the website, no reply.
Okay,
We phoned them, no reply.
I'll send it to Simon Andrews and just say, is there interest in somebody? But presumably the guy just wants to say hello. I'm also from Fraunhofer.
That's one thing, but also he does a project for Fraunhofer headquarters on trying to understand different models of Fraunhofer centers. And this is one of the, very few overseas Fraunhofer centers.
Yeah.
So he wanted to kind of learn more about the model here and so on. And I also want to kind of talk a little bit about it's a kind of interesting model how they embed with the university. General Fraunhofer centers are not located in a university. They closely work with the university, but not within a university. So I have some research interest as well, possibly to kind of talk to them, connect a little bit.
Depends whether you go to university. Anyway, yeah, sure. Simon Andrews then. I'll send it. I didn't do it yet, but I'll do that over the weekend.
Okay. Is there anything else I can help you?
No, I don't think so. So you'll find out a bit about the seminars that they have upstairs, and then go along, and then you'll meet another group of PhDs, and they're more on the entrepreneurship side, some on innovation, and
I have my friend study your.
you already have a friend up there. Okay.
Yeah, just email me and I'll send you the seminar list. Yeah, should I? Okay, write my name. Sorry. Oops, sorry. Can you help me? Yeah, sorry.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you very much, Tim.
Thank you.
One final thing, if you have one more sentence for me. We are putting together a big bid for the doctoral training center, call for Chancellor's Fellows.
Oh yeah, good.
It's about data science for studying innovation and entrepreneurship.
Okay.
So I have a big project that just started, which is really about a European infrastructure, 8.5 million, we have $250,000 in it. Its aim is to bring data, different types of data on innovation and entrepreneurship and science across Europe.
Yeah.
and to harmonize this data and provide the data infrastructure to other people to use this data to study this data so that they can study innovation and entrepreneurship. As part of that project, we build a database on social innovation, but also it's a kind of European-wide infrastructure. And I already collaborate with some Chancellor's Fellows in computer science,
Uh-huh.
and there's another guy in statistics, so we are already collaborating.
Okay.
But we thought we could build a kind of almost a seed center for data science for studying innovation and entrepreneurship. And we are organizing a big summer school
Yeah.
in this building,
Yeah.
other building, in summer on data science for studying innovation
Yeah.
and entrepreneurship. It's like
Yeah.
50 people. It's a European-wide kind of a cornerstone training.
Oh, very good.
Not only for PhDs but also for
Yeah.
career researchers
Yeah.
as well. So we have some activities, and we will put a bit on this doctoral training thing
Yeah.
as well,
Yeah.
and we are trying to generate some activity around it.
Good. Good.
Thank you very much. Let me know, and please let me know if you need anything else from me.
I had put in the what's it called, that this organisation that Tony Blair set up, so whose name now escapes me, the that do advice around innovation, public sector advice. What they called?
You are not talking about the behavioral science one.
No. They had a big fund in the beginning, but then they kind of had less money and they've just focused on their own.
You're not talking about Nesta,
Yeah, Nesta, thank you.
okay?
And because I think we had a conversation, didn't we, about them doing this work for Scottish
Yeah,
Government?
yeah.
And that's
yeah.
exactly on looking at new metrics.
Yeah. Well, they are not part of the consortium. The consortium is 19 different organizations
Yeah.
across Europe. They're a little bit more on consulting side, I should say.
Yes,
Um,
this is the pathway that most innovation organisations have. They start off really quite close to research, and then their funding becomes less, and then they become consultants.
What we are
So
doing is
Nesta.
more a research project,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
data-driven
But they could be
research project.
impact champions for you.
I know them very well.
Yeah.
In fact, the guy who is organizing the work for Scottish Government is a friend, personal
Yeah.
friend. He came to Manchester a number of times to teach my students. I have a good relationship with them, and I'm really related with them. And I have had maybe 5 or 6 grants from Nesta in previous years.
Good.
So I have a really close relationship
Yeah.
with them. But their business model is slightly different than what we want to do in this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But I'm really very well connected with them. Thanks for.
Well, I'm just thinking of impact. So you're going to develop these new methods. Who will apply them? And
Yeah.
this could be an organisation which could help you into testing and applying it in practice.
Yeah.
Although then it's you doing free consulting for them, of course.
Well, I mean, I can
Anyway.
I can ask him to teach maybe a few hours here and there in the course. They will be invited, of course, to participate if they have staff.
I'm just thinking if you're doing this doctoral training
Yeah.
application, having a letter of support and also some
Okay.
tangible.
Okay.
We are going to do X, Y, and Z. That would be
Okay,
really beneficial
okay,
for
I
you.
understand.
for
Sure. Sure. I'll connect.
That
with
and a
him.
couple of other ones. If you can get that, then you're in quite a strong position. Especially if they are putting some money in, because you need actually some leveraging,
Yeah.
really. But anyway, see.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll see you.
Talk to you.
Oh, very nice to meet you. I'll see you then.
Cheers. Yeah. So he's a senior lecturer upstairs, and yeah. So anyway, so now you know somebody else. Okay.
Trying to sneak in mine because he was
Senior lecturer in Hunterston.
I can sell it to you if you like.
So we didn't really get onto any comments you had or questions. But do you have some comments and questions or about that particular paper?
Do you want to look at my summary? I just read, take note, and I think it's a useful when I have to do a literature review because I have to read so many paper in journal.
Mm-hmm.
If you have any advice, please let me know. I spend so long time to read the paper.
It will get faster.
Try to spend long time because when I read, I think and try to understand what you wrote.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I try to think about how can I apply to my research.
Yeah.
Yeah, and another gap, another point.
So
That's why.
in the beginning, it always takes a long time, but as you get more involved, then you become more selective about what it is you're choosing. So you will see lots and lots of papers. You will partially read many papers, and you will intensively read a few papers. But you're in the process at the moment of finding out what's going on in the world. So you have to sample, and because there are lots of papers to sample, you have to be prepared to, for example, just read the abstract and see whether it's of interest to you, and to be quite selective. But some things you sample a little bit, and sometimes you will read really thoroughly. And that's why also this paper that you had on the review paper. This is I think a very useful thing to look at next, so that you can see that review paper, and then that will help guide you a little bit because it will structure the literature. It will help you focus down on a few papers, and then also you can then start to read a few papers in more detail. And then once you've found a paper which you think is very, very interesting, also you can look at it on the science, on the, what's it called, on Scopus, and see who has been citing it. So have you used Scopus so far? Yeah, so you know how to go backwards and forwards. You can go into the citations, and then go back into those citations, but you can also see who has cited this paper. So you come nearer to the present, and that way you can really see how the literature is developing, and who is writing what, and who is doing things of relevance to you. Yeah. So I think the next stage for you, you're writing down good things. You'll obviously here you're putting things which you think are the key points, which is fine. As you start to write, then obviously you must use your own words. When you're trying to encapsulate what's being done in a paper, but this will all come. It's very early stages at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
And when I finish the read, I have to take some note.
The Thailand case. Yeah.
Yes, or something.
Yeah.
Take some note like this to keep in mind, keep my mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just take note. Some interesting point that related.
Yeah. So the research from universities tends to be academic research rather than commercialized research, and that's true here as well, because most of the drivers for academic career are about research. If we go back, 10 years, then in the UK, all the research assessment of quality was purely about it, looking at it from an academic point of view. What happened during our last research quality audit, So this is a national thing called the REF, Research Excellence Framework, and everybody in the UK universities is concerned about the REF because this is a very big thing. Every 6 years or so, there is a national audit which looks at the quality, judges the quality of the research of every group, and then your funding afterwards will depend on how well you did. Yeah. So if you do poorly relative to the other people, you will lose a lot of money, and you will lose a lot of status. So up till 10 years ago, for this research excellence framework, it was purely about the academic quality of your research. But nowadays, they've introduced another thing called impact, and this gets like 25% of the weighting. And impact is around the quality of how your academic research has an impact on the external world. And that was good for this university, because this university is quite interested in having an impact on the world. But it does mean that in the UK there is now a weakening of that distinction between academic research and commercial research, because at least in the way the government decides on quality, they will take account of the societal impact. Now, at this university, we have also taken that into account in our internal promotions. Yeah, so for internal promotion, also your external impact is important. But in most universities, still they have a kind of more old-fashioned system where it's purely your academic, only your academic quality which makes a difference for that. So I would say that this is fairly typical, the comment that you have here. This is also true of UK universities, what you've written, and that there are a few universities like this one which do a lot of collaboration with industry, and where it's maybe different from the rest. But generally speaking, your observation is true of UK universities. Yeah. Limitation of funding in the early stage, yeah. I think we have some funds for early stage. Do you know about the technology readiness levels?
No.
Have you heard of these? So this is TRL. So this is a concept which is developed by NASA, and basically you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So this is blue sky research. And this is fully commercial. Yeah, and then this is basically university research. Universities do 1 to 3. This is kind of commercial R&D. Let's say fully commercial. R&D. Okay, so you now see a problem. So universities will be quite good at working in this kind of domain. Companies will work well in this kind of domain. Now this is what they call the valley of death, where there is relatively small amount of support to get innovations through from here to here. So you're making patents around about this level or there, but those patents, they are still not commercially usable necessarily, so they will need some more development, and that's where you go through these different levels. Now these all have a definition. You can just Google these because they're very popular. But anyway, this is kind of the value of death.
I love that.
Well, okay, so the value of death means a few things actually. But it's really, value of death really means if you have a startup company from a technology startup company, it may acquire its technology from the university with round about this kind of level of technology readiness level.
Mm-hmm.
Because the university does not get funded to do anything beyond this. But it's still not a commercial thing because you've got to get up to here before it becomes something that you could make some money from.
Yeah.
So a startup company taking some technology at this level will have to continue to invest in the development and make sure that development gets all the way through before it can start making its money. So yeah, the valley of death is the place where all the technology startups where they fail because they didn't quite have enough funding, or there was extra problems with the technology. All these kinds of things stop them ever getting to market. So you're talking about the early stage of invention. This is a common problem which everybody talks about. How will they get through? So you need investors and you need support. In Scotland, we have some schemes which would enable companies to start to get through into the first stage. Proof of concept funding is what we usually call that. So proof of concept.
I see.
Yeah, you know that. Yeah, and we have a Scottish Enterprise proof of concept. Actually, what we discovered when we went around all the different universities was that there's a few schemes like that, but very often the university has to provide the money because nobody else is going to do it. So we often do that. Inadequate entrepreneurial skills and attitude for staff. Again, yeah, this is all true of here as well. I think this university is again slightly different, but this is something that this change of attitude to entrepreneurship is something that's that we recognise as being very important. So let's see what you say.
In context of a science park, thing witness. You know.
Okay, so what's the national? Can you give an example of a national research centre?
In Thailand Science Park, we have a 4 national research center, and biotech, nanotech, material and metal and material, and electronic and computer. Yet, you know, the researcher in the 4 national research center, they work like an artist.
Yeah.
They don't care about industry need. Yeah. Some of them they prefer or welcome to work and to work with a company and try to listen what company wants, what industry wants.
Yeah.
But I think more than 50 or 60% researcher work or explore or research whatever they want. I think it's a main problem.
So the government has just given them some money, and they get this every year. Who is testing what they should do?
Because for National Research Center, the impact or competence. You know we have 2 KPI.
2
KPI.
Yeah.
Yes. For KPI from a researcher. Some researcher need KPI in a paper or journal that public, or some researcher need make up money or work with a company as their KPIs. Yes. That's why the researcher in the Thailand Science Park, they can choose whatever they want. If they want to research by themselves.
Yeah.
They can make a paper journal, maybe just only one paper to submit, present public. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
That's okay. It's a KPI.
Okay.
Yet.
Yeah.
But I think Thailand Science Park, government allocate funding to Thailand Science Park. Oh, okay, some funding, some budget, but funding is come from tax
Mm-hmm.
or revenue from Thai people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They should do something for Thai people.
Yeah. So are these like the national measurement?
Yeah, it's national measurement.
Yeah. So we have the same thing, which is the National Physical Laboratory. So, well, in fact, we have a few. So we have, so at the top level we have the National Measurement System,
Mm-hmm.
and this consists of National Physical Laboratory, National Engineering Laboratory, and the government LGC. The government, I can't remember what the L is for. Anyway, it's the laboratory of the government chemists. So there are three. And so we are, my university, Strathclyde, our university, is a strategic partner of the National Physical Laboratory. So this is the one that does time. They measure time, for example. So it's very exciting. I went down there and I saw their atomic clock. So they built this new atomic clock which can measure time like I think 100 times faster than anything currently. I think it's a really interesting question. If you develop a clock which is 100 times more accurate, how do you prove that it is so accurate?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a difficult problem. Anyway, because they can only measure it against things which are less accurate. So I don't know, they have this way of, they explained to me, they have this way of, they bounce a signal backwards and forwards between here and Germany. And they bounce it back many times. They can count how many times it goes backwards and forwards, and then they can measure. If they do that like 100 times, then the old style clock has caught up. But they've been able to time each one of those things. It's quite funny. So anyway, yeah. So we also have a base here for the National Physical Laboratory. And again, I recognise this because they are very interested in their own thing. They and they find it quite difficult to do innovation. They don't really know how to do it. The government is asking them to do that, but they're struggling because they're not used to it. Because really they're just scientists and they don't do anything else.
Yeah.
But because you mentioned TÜV, so it's TÜV Süd.
Yeah, TÜV Süd.
So we also have very close here. We have the National Engineering Laboratory.
Yeah.
This is also part of the National Measurement System, but they were sold off to TÜV Süd. So they have a different kind of attitude. They're working much more closely with industry. But it's slightly strange because the facilities are basically managed by TÜV Süd for the government, and they get money to do these things. And actually, I think they've kind of lost their way a little bit, because then they just think of themselves as having facilities that people can use, and they don't really have the good contact with the research anymore, except a little bit through us. So it's quite interesting. We have these two parts of the national measurement system. One is like they're all like academics, and the other one is kind of more like consultants, and that's because of the way they were owned, and also because of their KPIs. Because their KPIs in National Engineering Laboratory, well, it's part of a company, so they have to be commercial. Whereas in the other one, they get this grant every year from the government of £60 million. Okay, well, they just spend the money, and they wait for the money to come in again next year. So anyway, I recognise all of these things, right? So the things you're saying are all true, also of here. Yeah. Okay, national census, yeah, Yeah. Interest without yeah. Yes, all true. Yes. Funding in early stage not consistent. Yeah. Okay. Change uncontrollable. Yeah. So again, this person that we met, that you'll meet on Tuesday, he believes strongly that government should have an innovation policy which lasts at least 10 years.
At least 10 years.
Yeah.
Yet.
And so I got to know him very well because the Scottish Government introduced Scottish Government Innovation Centres. And then they asked Graham Reid to do a review of them after it was about 4 years because they had funding for 5 years. And then he did the review, but I worked with him because I was on his review panel. He had 5 people on his review panel. And so we got to know each other quite well then. And the main recommendation we made was you need to give them more time because they will evolve and they will then really, you can only really judge their quality after 10 years. But the UK government established catapult centres, and they have, after kind of 4 years, suddenly the government minister in the UK asked Ernst & Young to do a review, and this review was very bad, saying they don't deliver value for money, and so again this is inconsistent government policy. Government policy wants change tomorrow. Yeah, actually with Bob, years and years ago. Now Bob is now doing really good things with the National Health Service. Years ago we managed to get a contact at the Scottish Government National Health Service evaluation, and they were really interested in the research that we did. We could maybe use that to make the health service more efficient. Okay. And so they might give us some funding, and then we said, so what's the time scale of this? 6 weeks. They wanted us to be able to change the NHS within 6 weeks because that was the next election date. All right, completely impossible, of course. Completely impossible.
Yeah.
So anyway, government changes. The politicians want things today. Yeah, sometimes that's good for you, but not often. Anyway, so today actually we had the government minister here for the economy. He was saying, I like what I'm hearing. I want this done quickly. So in this case it was good for us. I want to know why it's not happening in a few weeks if there's any problem. So this is good, but anyway, generally speaking, government is quite conservative because they're spending public money. They don't want to, it's easy for people to complain, and you have to take a risk if you're doing innovation. Yeah, so governments don't like taking risks. So this is why the changes are uncontrollable. They have quite a high risk threshold. Occasionally you get somebody who's really quite innovative and they will push down that risk threshold. Government will invest, but then that person leaves, somebody new comes in, and the risk threshold goes up again. So anyway, inefficient to build awareness and promote incentives and privilege. Oh, okay. What do you mean by this one? Number 4?
I mean, I'm Thai entrepreneur or SME in Thailand. Yeah, don't know too much. You don't know much about the incentive and privileges that the government put to drive innovative product for SME. Yeah, I think we should spend money for build awareness and reputation about science park, about the role of science park or the role of a university that work in the area of science and tech. It's quite difficult to access for SME in Thailand because they don't know they don't know is there any facility to support or promote when they got some problems about when they try to produce innovative products. You know, they quite suffer. That's why I think it's a quite problem in Thailand.
I still don't understand. I'm sorry. So you're building awareness
Yet
to.
you
So it's the science park
yet
building awareness.
should building awareness about should building awareness and try to like a PR public relations about incentive or privileges that they try to build SME to produce innovative products or high value added products.
Mm-hmm.
You know, SME in Thailand, maybe they don't know which organization that can help them to make innovative product happen.
Mm-hmm.
Some SMEs try to build a high value added products.
Yeah.
Try to build put innovation in a product, but they don't know what they should start in the first step, where they should to come to consult. You know, they quite misunderstand.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Thailand, Thai people don't know much about science park. It's a big problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know the role of science park.
Okay. So my assumption about a science park would be that the science park, well, for a start, I assume it would be a legal entity, so a company that owns the ground. Maybe. Well, I'm just saying what I would imagine a science park is. So a science park is a physical location,
Yes,
but it's owned by somebody
government.
or and managed.
Yet,
Owned and or managed by a company?
no,
No?
No.
Okay.
managed by government. You know,
An agent. So you're a civil servant? Who employs you?
yet I employed.
Who is your employer
You mean
at the science park?
the science park?
Right. In Thailand, you work for. You worked at the science park.
Yes,
Right?
I work in science park.
But who is your employer?
Who is your employer? Ministry of Science and Technology.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
So you're a civil servant.
yes,
Okay.
yes. And Thai government allocate some budget for Thailand Science Park,
Mhm.
but some funding I mean my revenues come from tenants.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, rental fee, something like this, and when Thailand Science Park charge when company need to use some facility. I mean, for example, testing lab or testing equipment, something like this. Yes, it's our revenue.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
But you also get subsidy from the government
yes.
to pay for that. So you're not really giving commercial rates. Do you have subsidized?
Partly commercial, because government pay. I mean, government get money not enough for run the business in Thailand Science Park.
Mhm.
You know, yeah. We need a tenant, more and more tenant.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And try to build ecosystem.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we would like to attract interesting technology company all over the world to set up R&D activity in Thailand, especially in Thailand Science Park. It's
Yeah.
mean a benefit.
Okay. So what you're saying here is that, so I think you need to think about how you phrase this,
Mm-hmm.
because I don't understand. I still don't
Okay.
quite understand what you mean there.
Yeah, that. Okay.
So,
If I do something wrong, please let me know and correct me.
of course, that's the whole point. You see, most of the time it's not wrong. Okay, so there'll be some things which are wrong in a technical sense. Okay, but the point about research is that everything that wrong can be very interesting.
Uh-huh.
And that's the point about doing research and becoming a researcher. You're trying to find those things which you think are wrong, and then when you go and have a look, well, what's going on here? Then you discover some interesting feature which people haven't written about before,
Uh-huh.
and that's when you're starting to become a researcher. Yeah. So don't worry about being wrong. Just make sure that if you're wrong in an interesting way.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. Right, so I have to, we should finish. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Almost. I need to work with staff universities. All right, so you've still finished this. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, interesting. Anyway, your current thinking is that your project will be around comparing the science park and the innovation district, what are the relative advantages, and then how you could transition from a science park into an innovation district concept. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah?
It's interesting.
Yeah, sounds like an interesting thing. I mean, this is basically the main example of this is Research Park. What's it called? It's in North Carolina. The Research Triangle. Research Triangle Park.
What about this? Triangle.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the most famous one. I've been there,
Mm-hmm.
and you couldn't. It's more park than district, because it's. I mean, it really does look like a kind of classic science park, and it's like everything else in America. It's very big, and if you want to go from one building to the next, you better make sure you have your car, because it just takes you too long. So it's. Whereas an innovation district is, of course, supposed to be more compact. When Greg Clark came here, he was he said that the area we have in the city centre here is quite a nice area because you can walk in a few minutes from one part to the next. Right, so this may be a challenge for you because your science park is probably quite big.
Yeah.
How long does it take to go from one? If you were to walk from one side to the other?
Maybe we have to use a car.
Yeah, this is why I say if you walk.
More than 15 minutes
Oh, 15 minutes walk.
yet.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But Thailand is quite hot. Hot there.
Yeah, okay. Well, we'll ignore those. So you do it at night, okay? Okay, so that's not a huge
Yet.
area. I thought it might be bigger than that.
Yeah, just only 80 acres.
Okay.
In Thailand Science Park.
Okay. Right. So let me actually give you this link to the work of Greg Clark. Well, this is his company, the Business of Cities. So he is a visiting professor. Yeah, he was here today. In the future, I can, when he comes again, I might be able to introduce you to him. Because again, he's not an academic, although he's a visiting professor here. But we would be able to. Well, he understands. He's taking forward a lot of the Brookings work. So he's done various studies that take forward the innovation district ideas, and but he's a consultant, so he does work for different organisations, but often for the government to advise them. And he's advising the city of Glasgow as well on how they should develop Glasgow as a knowledge-intensive region. So he has a lot of understanding of the practicalities of these things. So his name is Greg Clark. That's from the Business of Cities. Yeah. Okay, I think we should probably finish there.
Thank you so much.
Good chat. And but we so you've now connected with Caroline, my PA. So she organises. I've said that we should be trying to get a meeting every 2 weeks, and actually with Bob as well. But we need to link with Bob's diary. Yeah, often I'm away. That's the issue. So then or often something will come up, and I suddenly get sent off to go on a trip somewhere, or I have to meet a visitor here for the university, and so please forgive me when things have to get changed. But Caroline will always keep on top of everything. Yeah?
Sure.
Okay, good.
Thank you so much.
So just because I think Bob did come back.